Welcome to PM Express. My name is Martha Krensolakwa. This evening we are talking about development in a particular direction, developing slums. Because most of the time you have slums that come up because people have migrated, mostly in Ghana, from the 3 northern regions, southwards in search of greener pastures. But when they get here, development doesn't support this. And so they find themselves in places they are not supposed to do, doing jobs that they are not supposed to do, and all manner of things. We ask ourselves, don't we factor all these into our development plans to be able to take care of them when these issues come up? We are talking about this because we want a solution and how to move our country forward from where we find ourselves now. I have in the studio Sheikh Barima Osei Asare, who is a spokesperson of the Chief Imam, and he is going to help me talk about this more. Sheikh, welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for agreeing to be on PM Express today. What is your general assessment about development in our country now?
Thank you very much. Development is about services and facilities, infrastructure that are provided for people to enjoy the best that they are able to enjoy in life, the quality of their lives, i.e., example, adequate shelter, adequate clothing, food, health, education, these things that are germane to human development or germane to the quality of life, so that human being can find life, fulfilling in his life. Once we are able to get this. Now, any life devoid of these things will tell that there's no development. Where there's, to the contrary, there's poverty, inadequate housing, there's disease, there is no system of government where people's rights and needs are met, then we say there is underdevelopment.
Then we have a problem. We are underdeveloped, we all know that, but we thought basic things like these should be met. They are the needs of the people. If you meet that, then you are making a headway towards achieving full development.
Exactly. That's why in matters of governance, any governance system that can be said to be good is the one that is responsive to such needs.
Are we not responsive enough?
With different approaches to government, we have seen government that have been less concerned, about the plight of people, government that have not been able to evenly distribute, the national cake, such that people living in certain parts of the country, are disadvantaged, and others in other parts of the country are receiving more of the advantage. I give you an example. In the colonial administration, for example, where the northern part of the country, for example, by colonial policy was denied education. And so much of education was provided to the south. And so therefore, a situation, a circumstance of poverty was created. That became the reason why northerners will have to migrate down south here to get out of the poverty enclave and work menial jobs in the southern part of the country, i.e., carrying the nice soil in the south of the country. Working in the mines, doing menial jobs, like what in those days we call it the tankers, weeding, and so on, working in the cocoa farms, and so on and so on and so forth. So it gives you a clear picture when resources or opportunities are not evenly distributed. And that's a bad governance system. If such system is inherited by subsequent governments, where they do not sit down to evaluate. So Kwame Nkrumah, for example, quickly saw into this, and he did what he called, he started something we call the Accelerated Development Program.
To catch up.
To catch up.
The north and the south.
So then he now gave attention to the northern part of the country, where he had to institute what we call the Northern Scholarship, for example, so that he can do a kind of affirmative, plan, to ensure that those who were in less fortunate circumstance will catch up with those who have already been exposed to such opportunities.
That was a deliberate attempt.
Exactly.
What other deliberate attempts have you seen after Nkrumah you've mentioned? Any other?
I mean, yes, for the other governments, and for example, we saw a situation where, I mean, deliberately during the, what we call it, Rawlings administration, I mean, during the revolutionary era, we saw now attention being given to less developed, communities. Attention was being given. An example is the decision to distribute electricity to almost every part of the rural community so that we can accelerate development, people can take advantage. I mean, it's a deliberate. There were people who raised a question as to whether it made sense, because electricity as energy is resources, and you want to go to a place where people can use it for productivity. It was not seen so much as a facility that relates to human rights for people to be able to lead a good life, but it was seen more in terms of what brings productivity. So there were arguments as to whether there was the need to do so. One other good example, deliberate, is still with Rawlings administration, the decision to start a university in the northern part of the country, for example, it was debated. The UDS, for example, it was debated. I mean, why should we, are we prepared to start? But he saw that deliberately something needed to be done to bridge the gap between the north and the south, because almost every northerner who qualified for entry into university had to come down south here. And the existing universities were now finding it difficult to accommodate all these numbers. So therefore, what you can do is to do an even distribution of that opportunity. So these are examples of things deliberate done in order, and it gives a sense that the one who is in government has analyzed and has looked around
and seen the deficiencies in there and wants to bridge it.
That is what good governance is all about.
Identifying
the problems and dealing with them, reducing factors that subject certain segment of society to inhuman status. They are human beings who are entitled to dignity, but their circumstance reduces them into something else. And sometimes we even call certain communities underdeveloped, deprived, marginalized. You see, these are verbs. I ask the basic question. If you say marginalized, somebody did the marginalization. Who did it? You are called them marginalized. It's a human action. Somebody did something or neglected, in which translation means that those people under the circumstance have been marginalized, have been deprived. You see, deprivation. Somebody has been deprived of something. Yeah, who did the deprivation? You saw them in their circumstance. So get them out of that deprived situation by now not depriving them. Give them what is their right. Any government that comes with this kind of
is able to achieve something.
Achieve
but why is
something.
it so difficult to do? Is it that, like he's saying, they don't analyze, governments don't analyze and see that, okay, we are at this point, I need to bridge the gap. If I bridge, because if you provide what they need in that part of the country, you save the other parts of the country the trouble of having to share what they have with them. What is the problem?
I mean, sometimes it's very difficult. In my candid understanding of things, I think that sometimes people want to engage in government, but without understanding what government entails, without also appreciating the responsibilities associated with government. People engage in government without appreciating the moral and the ethical underpinnings of governance, and so they become so discriminatory.
When they are supposed to be government for all.
For all, they become discriminatory. Oh, I came from this area, and my attention must go to this area, and then.
Or that area voted for me, so I must devote attention.
That sort of thing, and I think that when you do so, then you cease to be government for all. Then governance now becomes only an avenue for you to be able to satisfy your selfish tendencies or
so
the sectional tendencies.
Retain
power. And I think that most people in government have been guilty of this. Yeah, with exception of at least we have something, a best exemplification of that in Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, who comes quickly and he he saw into some of these difficulties and he decided that something needs to be done. I'm not saying he's perfect. As a human, he has got his downsides. But everybody now will make a reference to Kwame Nkrumah.
Yes.
Yeah, with the provision of, I mean, the electricity, the rail lines that he created and worked on.
It was equal distribution.
I mean, a semblance of that, so that he was not made to remain as the only person who ruled Ghana, but at least he laid a foundation.
That others should have continued.
And sometimes when you listen, I'm amazed when I listen to the playback of some of the speeches he has ever made.
They're so relevant. Eh?
I mean, I wonder at that time linking it up, so assuming that he had remained in government, and the countries that we began with, like countries like Malaysia, I mean, for example, the sort of leadership they had in Mahathir for that long period before he left power. Now he left Malaysia well off. In agriculture, the economy had boomed. You know, all services, both educational and health, had boomed. Great opportunities for people. People are realizing their potential. Electricity quite available. You know, industry booming, and so therefore creating job opportunities for people. There's no sense in creating a situation where a segment of community is described as poor.
Poor, marginalized.
Marginalized. I mean, who created the circumstance of poverty? Yeah. Once you have identified, even if the circumstance is natural, that is why governments are there to solve problems. Turn that situation around and turn difficulties into opportunities.
You know, the recent demolitions at Sodom and Gomorrah, Old Fadama, for now, and the other ones like the Circle, Aveno, and the rest, the residents or the squatters threaten not to vote for the government. It takes a government with a strong hand to be able to carry it, because like you're saying, if whatever you're going to do will go against you, then why do it?
Yeah. Past governments have been so much sensitive to some of those threats, and so they have not been consistent in addressing these problems. Sometimes a particular mayor begins to act, and then some other higher authority tells him, "No, can you take your time?" You know, but as they do so, they are mindful of the hitback from that when it comes to voting. Yeah, but I think that it takes courage and understanding of what it requires to change the circumstance of the people. Because for all you know, human beings are afraid of change.
Of course.
Change, the fear.
It's very uncomfortable.
Very uncomfortable because of the unknown, because of our inability to adapt to new circumstances, the new challenges that come with change and new circumstances and so on and so forth. So people want to remain where they are. So there's no one that finds change palatable except the one who understands truly what change means and the advantages that come with change. Life, to move ahead in life, sometimes requires courage to break new grounds, to explore new circumstances. In fact, that is what has brought us, even in world development where we are. Those who did the inventions, they had to think through and get out of their comfort zones in order to be able to explore. Yes. So two things. Either we educate people who find themselves in some circumstance to agree that, look, where you are staying is not the best for you. Gather the courage. We are going to give you a new place. That place is void, it's empty. You go there, you will start life there.
Make the best out of that place.
Bodubram, for example, when the Liberians came there, it was void. There was nothing there. There was no building. So if foreigners had come to our country, we gave them refuge. We called them refugees. They were displaced people from their own country wanting respite, and we granted them that. So when we put them there, there was nothing there. Now Bodubram is a whole township.
It's true.
A whole township. So the courage to accept new circumstance is something. And that is the side which I find some of our brothers and sisters in those things. Yeah. But the other thing has to do with governments also taking the tough stand. What is it? You are in government for 4 years, and you are entitled for us to vote you for the next 4 years. I would expect any responsible government to want to do the right thing.
Yes.
Yeah, you were not born to, by all means, to
stay in power.
To stay in power for 8 years.
Yes.
No, that's why you are elected to give us the best of service. You see, politics, in my view, is about seeking, exploring opportunity to be able to render service.
Okay.
Politics is not dirty. I find it very bad, and I feel indicted myself if people characterize politics as
a dirty game.
So you reduce this whole
institution of changing lives, impacting on people.
But it's because of the way we do it. Politics provides opportunity for you to render service.
Wow.
Yeah. So being in power, look at the long-term, medium, and short-term, prospects, and use courage to get the people to do the right thing. And so that's why I don't find anything wrong at all with the current situation where the Accra mayor is taking a tough stand. I said, those people are my own brothers and sisters. I tell them, gather the courage, leave that place. Because would every government attempt have been made to evict them from that place? What it means is that it's not good for them. Why do you survive in a place where your whole survival is threatened? People are saying where you are is not correct. Even the vagaries of weather, natural disasters keep on threatening you.
Yes.
And whenever it happens, it gives a certain huge human problem that government is unable to address.
Okay.
So to forestall that happening again, government said, look, your life is precious for us. You can improve our productivity. We can't leave you to die under this circumstance. So we are moving you, go to another place, and that's the responsibility of government. Look, we are moving you, give you a safer place to live, go there, break the new grounds, build your houses there, create your farms, let us reach there with electricity, begin to create industries in those areas, provide for you road so you can travel from that place to the center of town where you can be doing your work and get back and be safe. And I think that what is happening now is the correct thing to do.
Is a correct thing to do.
It's correct to do.
We're taking a break here. We will come back and we'll talk more about how to step out of the Zongo. We're still on PM Express. My name is Martha Krensolakwa, and I'm here with Sheikh Barima, and we're talking about how to step out of the Zongo and achieve something for ourselves. Sheikh, I've heard people say, some people, not all people, that the 5 pillars of Islam sometimes contribute to the underdevelopment in the 3 northern regions. Have you heard that before?
Well, not really. Okay. The 5 pillars of Islam, they represent the 5 cardinal duties of every Muslim towards God. The first is to declare your faith, authenticate your faith in God, that He is the only one to be worshipped, and accept that the Prophet Muhammad is His messenger. The second is to say your daily prayer. The third, is to give alms, be charitable. And then the 4th one is the fasting, which we have just finished.
Yes.
The last one is to travel to Mecca on pilgrimage.
I guess is the 3rd one.
Yeah. Now,
giving alms.
If you see, giving alms, which is, charity in a generic sense, is to give off something to dispossess yourself in order that others will possess and have it.
Okay.
Show love by considering the next person to you as an extension of yourself. Lend a hand of support to people. This is, in a broader sense, what charity is about. Sacrifice what you have. To the deeper sense of it, die in order that others will have life.
Okay.
That is it. Just like the seed will have to get decomposed and get rotten in order to shoot up and give another life, which gives us food. That is what charity is about. And it's a very is something in a world where there is no even distribution of wealth, that this is the only principle of God that creates opportunity for us to give a sense of God's fairness and justice. That from those who have, it is taken in order to send to those who do not have.
Okay.
So that we lift their life up to come at par with those who have. So God's own even distribution of wealth comes through the act of charity. But then if God hadn't done it so, how could we find that it is godly?
To give.
Because we all have it. So on what grounds can we find that, look, it is good? So if because I believe in God and I think God is beauty in terms of his deeds, is compassionate, and I am inspired by this attribute because I connect with him. So now I give expression of the beauty of his compassion as I stretch my hand to the less fortunate and lift that person up from the doldrums of his poverty and miserable condition to a position of dignity.
So that state is not supposed to be a permanent state.
It's not supposed.
The state where you are receiving. It's not supposed to be.
At all. And I think that issue of charity within the Muslim community has been abused in one sense or the other. Look,
I guess that's what the person was talking about.
The Prophet Muhammad says something, and I find that very interesting. And in that one is an incentive for every Muslim to work hard and rather be the one who gives and not receiving.
Okay.
He made a simple statement. He says the hand, the upper hand, is better and superior to the lower hand. In other words, the hand that goes up this way in order to give. Is better and superior to the one that receives.
True.
Now, if excellence and superior attributes are things that we must aspire for, in other words, it is mean to receive.
Okay.
And as humans, we are not cut to pursue that. It's what it mean. But as God has made us with his own glory, with his own glory, and that glory of God that is with us, confers on us a certain dignity. And so human personality should not under any circumstance be reduced. That's why if you take the Christian balance, for example, we say that let us create man in our own image and likeness. Yes. We have a different view about it, but that likeness, there's a certain attribution of God that relates to the human being. And from Islam, man occupies the highest position because he's supposed to be the vicegerent of God. If you like, for want of a better expression, is the representative of God on earth. And for you to be a representative, you must be accompanied by certain attributes, certain abilities that God has put in you as a potential to be able to manage things. This high position keeps man so dignified that he cannot be reduced.
Okay.
That is why anything that is mean is not worthy of man.
I see.
Anything that is mean. So poverty is not worthy of man. So God wants us out
of poverty.
That's why when people are poor, then he imposes duty on those of us who have it to say, get them out of that situation.
Okay, so in giving alms, you're getting them out of that situation.
But you do it in such a way that you change their circumstance. So, for example, our annual alms, we call it the zakat, for example.
Yes.
Now, zakat, you give the zakat on
Is it the same as sadaqah?
No, sadaqah is the generic, broad terms of charity. But zakat is prescriptive and specific. It's prescriptive and specific. So you give it based on certain conditions. For example, you hit a certain threshold of wealth
to give zakat.
To be able to qualify to give zakat, for example.
And you choose who to give it to?
In fact, it's been made so clear in the Quran, 8 categories of people that you can spend that are beneficiaries of zakat. One of them is the needy and the poor. In fact, the wisdom of God, just like we also talk about the spirit and letter of constitution, and the spirit has to do with the intent and the wisdom of frameworks of the constitution. So you also must also go beyond and look at what is the wisdom of God, the intent of God for instituting for us this kind of prescriptive charity.
Yes.
The idea is to turn around.
But that is a religious
duty.
Has it not been intertwined with culture?
Yes, the culture, and that's why the culture, the tradition and culture of sitting down and waiting for people to give you.
Yes, it's a culture.
Because it kills initiative. And that's why the prophet says that, no, don't wait. You too work hard and be given. That's why here it's been made a cardinal duty. Cardinal duty means that it is the responsibility of every Muslim. So in this principle, there is an incentive for hard work. You say that every Muslim must work hard such that you can also give. If we come to a stage where we cannot find a single poor person in this country, we reach out outside the country. And we see, and God has made it so that every day you have people who are in dire circumstances. Go to our hospitals. Go to our hospitals. I sometimes feel very sad in our hospitals where a young boy of 2 years has a hole in heart. And our hospital facilities say if he doesn't get the money, he's going to die.
Yes.
I find it unacceptable that in our health facility, in some other countries, when a child coughs,
you get someone come to his aid.
The ambulance is there to pick him, and they cherish so much the life of a child that next minute they treat the child. Here, the child will have to remain suffering with hole in heart until any charitable organization comes to pay. And sometimes, because the condition gets deteriorated, just as you have paid the money, the child dies.
Yes.
So we always need charity, because the charity is what will get people out of their dire circumstances. Go to the hospital and see how people are waiting for people to pay their bills.
So we could put that zakat there instead of giving it to those we know are stationed at the entrance of the mosques, waiting to be given charity.
These are
because
what
they
we call
know there are
professional
people
beggars.
who are, you see,
professional beggars whom we discourage. Somebody at the least disability, just 1 foot.
Yes, they can still do something.
And such people, I say candidly without feeling guilty, I don't give money to such people.
Okay.
I don't give money to such people because my religion does not encourage me to do that. Just the wrist is this palm which is off, and he has all these, and he comes to stand by the roadside. It's not correct. Just losing one eye. But people who have lost 2 eyes.
And they're still doing something.
They're doing something. We have a full minister now. There's a lawyer, Lawyer Corey. He speaks good English. I see him in his dark. If the dark is there, you know. Bashiru Corey.
Yes. He was a state attorney.
The first day I saw this man, and I got amazed.
Wow.
There is this lady who is a computer expert.
Yes.
This lady.
She's at the Association of the Disabled.
Yes, I think she's been now on communication.
It's not Farida.
But is it Farida?
Farida has another disability. She's different. But I know this
yes,
lady.
I mean, I don't know. But normally she would have been left.
Yes.
She would have been left. But when I saw this lady and what she's able to do, I've seen people armless. A lady who's a teacher, she was born with her 2 arms, and she uses her foot to sharpen a pencil for children.
Yes.
To write with chalk on slates.
She is Enyonam or something.
Something. Yes. So if such people can be turned around to be able to do something for themselves, then...
So you think people are hiding behind...
I think they are taking advantage.
The religion,
and
that is why some people think the development of the 3 northern regions is slow.
Yeah, I think that governments after governments have not put their hands, and you see, and the painful thing is that then they all make politics of it.
Oh, okay. Tell me about the politics.
I mean, they all make, during political campaigns, they know the problem, they know it. Then they say that, no, when I come, I will create the Northern Development Fund. Oh, so then they know this. Then another government comes and say that, no. I mean,
I've identified some problem.
That's not a problem. No, if you vote for us when we come, they are competing. So this government is the same solution, but giving different cliches. Oh, Northern Development Fund. Oh, this one, a Northern Accelerated Development Authority. I mean, it's about this. It means for all this time they have seen the problem. In northern part of the country, there's, in everything, we have the push out and the pull-in factors.
Yes.
In the southern part of the country, there's the pull-in factors. In the northern part of the country, there's the push-out factors.
Yeah, poverty is number one.
Poverty is not number one. Go to their schools and see. Go to their schools and see. I mean, these are the vast area that we know that they are in need, and most of the schools there are not well developed. They are not well developed.
Okay.
Yeah, and I say with all sincerity, that is why, as a person, I actually disagree with the idea of establishing these free senior high schools.
For the three northern regions?
Yeah.
Or across the country?
Across the
Why?
country. You see, let's start with the basics.
Okay.
Go back to the basics. Go to the northern part of the country and look at the state of the schools there. When we know we are managing little resources, I would expect that let's focus on the basic schools, the state of basic schools.
Strengthen that.
Strengthen them. And then also provide for more of them. Furniture, teacher bungalows. Get the best of teachers to go to the northern part of the country. Just give them simple 2-bedroom something, so that attract the best of teachers to go to the northern part of the country and teach.
Okay.
Improve the health facilities there, simple health facilities that are spread across the area. Give training, to the people. You see, when the opportunities are there and they are vast, what is the business of a young girl, my younger sister, my daughter, who comes from the northern part of the country, and she comes here and another woman reduces her into sex material? She's made to remain about 12-year girl who comes here and another northerner, brings her and then she becomes a sex agent and gives her out because of poverty. These girls come here, they sleep on the roadside, in front of stores.
Harsh weather
conditions.
When it's raining, you see them with their
unscrupulous men and young men, attack them, rape them, they impregnate them, they give birth to children on the street, bring up the children on the street, raise them on the street.
Another generation on the street.
See, if you think about the dangers is not about the immediate circumstance, but it's about the future. And that is why governments must put their head on this. Government is not about satisfying people to get you the votes next time. No. And I agree with any person who comes into government and say, look, these 4 years I have a project. I don't care whether you vote for me the next 4 years. I am going to execute it. If you appreciate what I do and you want to give me the next opportunity, I'll target another problem. But if you think, but for what I have done, you no more need me, get me out, let's get to another person to also come in. Wow. You see, that is what will bring about
development. Need,
you see, it's not about looking at, you see, if I'm not smart to do it, then the government will come and do it. Yes. If I don't do it quick. No. You see, when you do so, you lose your sense of prioritization.
If your focus is the next election, you lose it.
Go stay focused. You have analyzed very well and you have come to terms with the development needs of the people.
And I'm sure people know what's good. When they feel the impact, they will come back for you.
They will come back for you.
What.
I trust. Look, you do it for them, they will insult you from the beginning. When they begin to see the benefit, they themselves will come back looking for you. Even if you lose the next 4 years and you come and stand again.
They will bring you back. Some way, somehow.
They will bring you back.
Sheikh, we'll take another break here. When we come back, we'll talk about whether the three northern regions perhaps are tired of being used as a bargaining chip. You're on PM Express. This is still PM Express, and we are talking getting out of the Zongo, because we know we can get out of there, not because the Zongo setting is so bad in itself, but the perception and the stereotypes and the issues people have because they think someone is from a Zongo must change. Sheikh, what do you think about that? Getting out of there.
Change is so necessary under different circumstances. And change is the only permanent thing that one can be thinking about. Everything about life keeps on changing. And the Holy Quran tells us that change is necessary. So they said Allah does not change the condition of a people unless they themselves change that which is with them.
Okay.
And Allah does not change the grace that He has also conferred on people unless they themselves change that which is with them.
Change is constant.
Change is constant. And life is dynamic. It is dynamic because of this change of circumstance. And with each change, demands also change. Challenges change. And if you remain where you are without taking steps to deal with the new challenges because of the change of your circumstance, then you remain where you are. That is one of the things that I think that within the Zongo community needs to be done by the people of the Zongo themselves and by the governments that they vote for.
I think the attitude of a Zongo community is so strong that if we use that nationally, it helps in so many ways, like the unity in the Zongo community. Yeah. If you touch one, you are in trouble with the rest of the community. They are so unified.
You see, the Zongo is cosmopolitan.
Okay.
Because, you see, it is the binding force there is religion. So it began as a religion that is the overarching binding force. So regardless of tribes and societies, you are able to stay in one enclave. You are called Muslims, even though you belong to different tribes. So the houses which happens to be in the Mwangara and other migrant communities stay, and then you find, because of cultural linkage, people from the northern part of the country do not find any comfortable environment but safe to come there. And that's why today you can find the Hausa, the Zabarma, the Grishi, the Dogomba, all of them living within that same area. But you see, the Zongos happen to be an enclave for Islam that was located in the periphery of society.
Okay.
But with expansion and development, it has found itself in the middle. So it becomes a deprived community within a metropolis.
In the midst of plenty.
Yeah. And usually it took time for the attention of governments to come there. It took time.
Why?
You
can't overlook them. They are just there in the middle, in the heart of the city.
Attention of governments only came in when they noticed that because of the deprived nature, the people there are becoming nuisance.
Exactly.
Yeah. Denying them education because educational facilities were not even available. Because of the colonial clash. And, you know, these were Muslims. So you leave them where they are. They don't have jobs. And they will not allow their children to go to school either. Yeah, like at my age, even at the time when I finished Form 4, for example, my father was not interested in further education. But he thought that if I went to school, I would never be a good Muslim. Because the schools were also were conduits for evangelization.
Okay.
Yeah, so our grandparents decided not to allow us to go to school. So we were left like that. And because we were not having education, we lost opportunities. So there was nuisance. So we become rowdy. We are just religious.
Is that where the aggressiveness comes from? It's
yes,
like I'm going to take it by force now.
Situation of poverty creates inferiority. And inferiority manifests in certain behavior patterns.
Okay.
Yes, go to any community where the people are deprived. Any community, I challenge anyone who likes, just deprive them of just basic social amenities and see their behavior. That is the plight of the Zongo people. But they are intelligent people whose nature is that they are loyal. That's why go to Zongos and see. If they are loyal to one political party, that's what they know.
They don't care about anything
They don't care
else.
about anything. These are loyal people. These are courageous people. They're hardworking.
Is that why politicians usually
That is why.
capitalize on that and then they go back to them all the time and they'll give them the
That's why those of us
support.
in education have seen that the only thing that can change our circumstance is to aggressively and radically engage in education. Okay. I'm saying aggressive, and we are so brutal. So that we accelerate the rate at which we change the circumstance.
Okay.
Already education is key in Islam. But unfortunately, lack of opportunities, a lot of people, poverty, you know, they are unable to even pay for school fees. Yes. So you create a cycle of poverty. In politics, sometimes I observe with pain and sadness when my younger brothers who have not had opportunities are seen in the forefront of political campaigns, and yet when they win the elections, they are now calling for certificates for appointment, yes. And all these strong people have to recede into the background only for those who have certificates to come, and so on and so on. The only factor that can change is education. And that's why I challenge the leadership of the Muslim community to take education seriously. Any institution of education in the Muslim community, in the Zongos, must be taken very, very seriously, both at the private level I encourage Muslim affluent people to engage, to enter into private educational enterprise. Yeah, they should also build nice facilities that will attract patronage. They should do so. And then they should also support government Islamic schools. I'm into education. I'm in charge of Islamic education within the Greater Accra region. That's my job. I'm a teacher by profession. You know it?
Yes.
Yes. So I'm encouraging, but sometimes you'll be sad to come and see even how Muslims themselves attend to Islamic public schools. You still have affluent people in Muslim community. You go to some of the Muslim communities, even furniture. I have visited a school. I've seen with sadness. I've seen some Muslim children in KG, in P1, P2 sit, right on their tummies in a Greater Accra region.
But they are well-to-do people in the communities who can help.
They are well-to-do. We have institutions, and I know that some of my friends who are in the Hajj operations don't like me to talk about this, and I challenge them that there's so much profit in that Hajj that we can mobilize resources. And target schools that are in bad shape within the Muslim community. That is only what will show our commitment. You cannot cry about what we are poor, we are that. When God gives you the opportunity to change your circumstance and then you waste it or you drain money into people's pockets, without accountability, you have no business to complain. The circumstance has been created by us. I've been getting now, we cannot continue to blame governments, blame other non-Muslim faith traditions for our circumstance. Now the opportunity is there, and leadership must take it bull by the horns.
Thank you. Now let's talk about marriage. I heard a friend who said he was going to become a Muslim, not because he believed so much in the religion, but because it afforded him the opportunity to have more than one wife. Can you imagine that? And then I told myself, no, this one is going to hide behind being a Muslim and just going to multiply and have many more wives. Is that also a problem that is contributing to the underdevelopment?
Seriously. You know, like I keep on saying, it's like trying to apply a constitution and you look at the intent and wisdom of the framers of the constitution. So if we say that God is the divine legislator and he allowed us to do so, so what is his intent for it? Okay. Now, if we don't appreciate the intent very well and the wisdom of God, then we abuse the whole institution.
Exactly.
And I think that polygamy is one of the institutions in Islam that has been so much misapplied and abused.
Wow.
And that is the reason why you find so much family instability. Yeah. But God has got his reason why he allowed us to. You see, marrying more than one in Islam, it is not an obligation, and I say so strongly. Okay. It's not an obligation.
It's a choice.
It's a choice, an option. And you see, when we are given options, it takes discretion. And with the excess of every discretion is responsibility.
Exactly.
Exactly. So you don't just rise up just because you have money and you say, well, I'm going in for the next wife. That's why the Quran says that you evaluate yourself. If you are unable to do justice, let's go marry just one.
Exactly.
And that self-evaluation means that you evaluate yourself in terms of your financial circumstance, your emotional maturity, the ability to do fairness and justice amongst them, awareness of the circumstance, what will happen to children when you are unfair to their different mothers, and all those things. And the circumstance when you are unable to fend for them. Yeah. How do you plan for their future when you are married to two women and they are all giving birth? Your investment, how does it cater for them in future, assuming you are no more, and so on and so forth. These are the ethical demands, ethical and moral demands of marrying one. It's not just
like some may make it seem.
Yeah. So people have abused this, and it is one of the reasons for difficulties, social instability. Yeah, the social consequences of people who get into, marrying more than one without taking into account all these things. Because, you see, our God is a wise God. It's a benevolent God. It's a purposeful God. God wouldn't have been God if he had happened to be purposeless. Exactly. He's absolute. He is complete and perfect. He is perfectly beautiful. So he knows what he's all about. If he tells you do this, he knows why. So you must connect with his wisdom in the application of laws that he has given us. So in Islam, that's why in Islam, for you to apply every law, there are conditions for you to fulfill. In fact, everything in Islam has so been designed that you have to follow rules and regulations. You have to fulfill conditions before. That's why one of the clear conditions of marriage more than one, it says that if you fear that you cannot do justice, and if you cannot stretch the logic of justice to connect with so many things, then you tell yourself that I'm not ready now, but probably in future I'll be ready. But now I'm not ready. How am I catering for these few children that I already have? Your wife is giving birth to 4 children, 5 children. Your hand is not able to go around them, respect to their needs, their shelter, their feeding, their clothing, their education, their health. You are not providing that adequately. The next time you have some little money, or sometimes I even give you charity because I think you are poor. I give you charity.
And you use that.
Then the next minute, now I've give you a charity of 5 million. I think this one can be enough to pay a dowry. And already I have my father had left for me one room somewhere which I have not occupied yet. I think I can put a woman there. That is a wrong way to address the problem. It's not correct. Now use that money as a seed money to better your circumstance, so you can cater for these children very well. Because you see, if you get married, marriage is the plan of God, and it hurts society if you get married and you are unable to live up to the marital responsibilities. You hurt society
because you leave a responsibility, another responsibility for
there's
society.
A strong link between family and the larger society. You see, if the family is society in its microcosm. Yeah. And because God has so great plan for a human being, he decided to put man in a family. Yes. That's why man and woman will get married.
For support.
For support. And so that children are born within an immediate environment in which they experience love, care, and attention. That is the environment in which they can see clear the future, the hope that they have, their inner God-given potential. That a parent is able to now attend to their educational needs and send them to school, and they come back home, and that he has an environment of love, care, and attention, that he's able to now see the best of his potential. And he grows, and he can see hope in his life, can see the better future of his life because of what parents are doing. If he's deprived of this, become a liability to society. In fact, his life becomes injurious to society. That's why when you have somebody who become an armed robber,
a society that turned him into an armed
or
robber,
drug addict, if you don't take care, it consumes the whole society. It becomes a cycle, and society suffers. So people are hurting. People are through the misapplication of religious principle. People are hurting society. But that's a departure and a shift from the purpose of God.
What are we doing about it? What are you doing something about it to correct it?
Trouble that we have. How many of us will think the way I'm doing? But you see, leadership has a responsibility.
Okay.
Yeah. So we must look after leadership. One, we must be more and more educated. Family people must understand the reason for what God gave them families. Live up to family responsibilities. Work hard. Government should create more and more opportunities so that families that are poor will be in a state of plenty and be able to do this. And I think and then religious people. I want a situation where the mosque in which we'll play will be the foundation for a change of society. You see, if you go and pray into the mosque, 4 walls of the mosque, and you get out without seeing what the mosque can do to change transformation society, then you reduce the whole usefulness of a mosque. Okay. So mosque today must be changed, use the mosque to mobilize resources, and get out and improve schools.
And to transform
society.
Thank you very much, Sheikh Arimiao. This is PM Express, and we've been talking about getting out of the Zongo. Sheikh Arimiao and us has said so much. I'm sure you've heard something that will transform your life too. My name is Martha Krentsolakwa, and this is PM Express. Thank you for watching.